5-period RSI, and they were asking about the grid, putting a 10-point grid on the 5-period RSI. Yeah, it's totally sure. That works perfectly. You know, this is why No Nonsense puts moving averages on indicators. Okay, he claims, well, that's the holy grail. Yeah, right. Well, you could draw a trend line. It's going to be the holy grail is going to put a trend line on RSI because it's pretty much like a spider crawling. There's only one way this thing's going. And if you put the 3-period, I'd even say take a 2-period and smooth it with a weighted moving average so that you can play games where you can get it to, I wouldn't say force a signal, but if RSI is a leading indicator, then you kind of want to get in when a top becomes a bottom in RSI, or you see the trend line breaking in RSI. So the early people are going to be the divergence or these long-legged reversals. So there's when I see this thing, I just kind of want to mark it up. Get out my little marking tool here and hack away at it a little bit here. I think I can use a line, force this to go full. Now you gotta love that. The guy with an ice cream truck. That's real audio. It's no joke. I love how people. It could be a Chinese speaker, but I hope that's a vintage ice cream truck. They're just child molesters. Let's move along. Epstein's. Oh. I think what makes it quintessential is the Doppler effect. As it comes by here, it just drips down a little bit. I think I can draw a straight line in here. A toolbox. Yeah, so the price is on the top. And we can also draw trend lines on top. So if you're really a purist, RSI trader like Cardwell or something, you really take it pretty seriously. 5-period is pretty tame actually, and you're going to get more inflections on this 10-point grid that you have. Of course, then the question is, why not a 5-point grid? And of course, obviously, right? And the bigger you trade, the fatter you're going to trade, the more it's going to mean, and the more of that trend line break. So if you want to be early to the party, you're going to sell when it's overbought. Even though it's going against you, if you're selling, but you'd have to be aware of the trend. So people that put like a 3-period RSI, a 3-period moving average linear weighted on top of a 5 RSI, what they're saying is, yeah, I'm gonna filter. Okay, so if you're gonna go out surfing, how many waves can you surf and still catch a wave? So what you're doing with the RSI, you're a pure momentum trader. You have to be an index trader. So the index is a blend of maybe 30 stocks in the Dow Jones. So you got this index that's kind of smoothed out. It's kind of taking it all in and averaging it out. Here it's a 5-period simple moving average of up and down. So no wicks here. You can't really see, here you just have to think, well, you're taking these trades with like a 100 pip stop, If this is a 50 pip kind of range here, we could put a 200 pip stop, and if we know where to get out, I'm just talking about terms of dollar risk, because we all know that if we wait for the London Open and we see if they're going to come into this zone or not, some people are going to wait with their finger on the trigger. Okay, you could pull the trigger on that, but just in case you're not there, everybody's got to know those are insane prices and they won't last, especially if it went ripping down in 1 hour. So on the RSI thing here, the bottom, if you're going to trade this as if it is price, and that's what people do, like these CCI people, as Woodies, if you study CCI. But I got into all this stuff. I did it all. Yes, you can build a CCI system that's kind of like, I would say for somebody that just wants to pull the trigger because you're at minus 100 on CCI, and I just use closing prices. So for a long time, I had elaborate indicator systems. You have no idea. It was CCI 4 period, RSI 3 period. I'm waiting for the just on and off switch. It's overbought, it's oversold. Plus, it's a commodity, it's a channel index, so it's really an envelope. You're literally looking at the plots of it banging into an envelope, like a simple envelope, not a Bollinger Band. Bollinger Band's taking into account volatility, and it's scrunching down, and it's doing all this stuff. Which, if you're going to trade breakouts, you're waiting for Bollinger Bands to get tight, and you probably want to run your Bollinger Bands like at 3. I don't know why people are putting it at 20. What are you waiting for? Fucking the wave within the wave within the wave. At some point, you just got to get out there and surf whatever's available. Session to session, the market's going to crush into fresh prices, and people are just going to be like, of course, the people that are riding that trend, the biggest price pulse down, like on this chart here, the biggest price pulse down, people are just going, oh yeah. Even if you put RSI at 3, you probably wouldn't get a signal out of it here. But if you're going to look at, I don't know what time frame this is, but if you're going to look way out, yeah, there's reversals on here and stuff. So if we did run, if we said, well, this is the top, and I'm going to draw a line here, and I'm just going to draw it straight across. That's too fat. That's that polka song. Okay. Okay, so we got to go down like skinny, conservative looking length here. And trying to get something white going here. No offense to white lines. So yeah, let me get this guy out of the way. Coming in here, just on the edge here, and you're kind of forced to draw a trend line here. And we're waiting for this trend line to break. But in the meantime, you could also do a channel here. So the corresponding inflection is going to be here, right, in price, which is way the fuck out there. So here's where you're breaking, RSI is breaking the trend line before price. And that's quite the beat down there. Man, you can't even see. It's so subtle. I mean, there's such a... So here's the pounding. Here's the sharper trend line. So here's how you would get in before everybody else. Beat them to the punch, but you may say, well, you're getting it too early. Not if you're waiting for this criteria where you draw a trend line here and you break out, pull back to that trend line. Oh, you're getting in. Another reason you're getting in is because if you imagine that this is price here, this is the bottom becoming a top failure here. Right here. So it's easy to see with the grid too. But the grid's helping you go, oh no, that just made a new low there. And that's supposed to be a top. I'm sorry, double bottom is supposed to become a top, and the sellers come in, and they do come in, right? They do come in, and this is why this whole drama is happening just like it does in price here. Also, if you're a cycle trader, it's very easy to say, well, there's this, right? And then I can make another one here. Same length. I'm waiting for something to happen there. So people like to make those claims. Oh, look, it happened there. See, I told you, double bottom. So this is a double bottom in price. So if you're really trading RSI, just like these Woody's people, and this is the top. So I think this might be the guy that asked me, why'd you put a line at 50? Okay, so here's where top in Cardwell trading. So I paid $2,000 for Cardwell. Show me this shit. But, you know, I guess the security of knowing somebody else is doing it was the feeling, I guess. Oh, is that how you do that? Okay. I mean, the people watching him, I must say, it was pretty magical. It wasn't the internet. It wasn't in power trading. It was a guy in a room, and it was just the overhead projectors. So we had the same trend line we're looking to break here too. So Cardwell would say that, and also, so I've done a lot of geometry. That's why I was laughing at that Kelvin guy, because yeah, we can all draw these fucking lines. I gotcha. So I can draw this double bottom, connect the dots. I did a whole video on this. Yeah, here's the trap under this floor, but it's at an angle, so that auction's happening at such velocity. Here's a nice clean, looking to break this trend line. Like if you came up on this chart, you'd probably just be buying because it's down here in this deep low, right? You're probably buying because it's down here anyways, right? There's the other topic on bottom. So in Cardwell's theory is when he's going to load the wagon, it's going to be right here because that is more oversold, but at a higher price in relationship to here. This is so important, this piece of the puzzle. Now that's outside the 2 and 5 period, and I don't know what time frame this is, but there's not a lot of, this is like the only really heavy buy. Here's kind of a 2 period, a 1-2 punch. This is also a doji. So here's the launching pad for the whole drama, which is above the 50. People say, well, it's above the 50, and Cardwell is going to say, well, now the range has just shifted to bullish, but it reaches a climax, you know. And it's coming right in, so it's coming into this bottom, becoming a top here at the same time that's happening. You've got a reversal here, right? So only given this much data to look at. Technically, that is more overbought at a lower price. So this drift, this thing. And let's see, we don't really get divergence here. I bet on a 3 period you might get divergence here to propel this move. You know, if you're going to take this, it could be a daily chart here. Not really any other good trades here. I guess this is technically the beginning of a shallow reversal where this is a little more overbought, and then holy shit, you know, it's doomed. It's quirky. I mean, so this idea that this is like a triple bottom in relationship to this, you know, hey, that's on a 5 period, that's like really stabilizing. Plus you're waiting, it's itching to break this trend line here. I want to go for the white trend lines. So it breaks early here. You're already in here. And this is the floor that you're looking for it to defy. It's trapped under there. You know, by this point, man, that thing just rips, doesn't it? So why you would probably take even this buy here. So here's where you'd lose, right? Because you're going to have to buy that because it's more sold at a higher price, right? But you got to expect that because if you bought this, yeah, people are dumping into this bottom. That's the scalpers. They're out. It's probably going to go lower. Even here, I'd be putting buy limits in right now. Yeah, I might watch this RSI. Like I said, if this was I don't know, man. It's like I said, I show you how to do it, but you're kind of just making it okay to trade, I guess, in a sense. Here, this bottom is no way going to become a top. And it's going to keep tanking. Maybe, I guess. It does happen. But at this point of the game, when this thing's ripping down, I mean, this is tremendous dual drive, you know, 2 smash downs like that. Just a nice measured, equal price Paul stuff. Really obvious things, you know. Stuff's very obvious. Stuff isn't that complicated. So I finally got a fight with somebody on Facebook about this mask bullshit. I'm like, dude, you gotta be kidding me, man. You're like a guy that's like scalping the guppy in Asia with an 8-pip stop. How are you doing that? He tested positive, but he's still alive. We don't know what to do. Shut the fuck up. Leave us alone. So yeah, this you could take you could say stuff like this. I will buy below here, and there's actually a trading platform called Visual Trader. You could put buy limits here on the RSI. So yeah, every time RSI comes in here, you would say, I'm gonna buy. It dips in when you want. Before this thing updates, you can play back RSI and watch it swirl around and see the setup of that momentum. Like you can see it going oversold while it's going up. It's really weird. So in real time or in playbacks, before it closes the bar, you can actually see the momentum. So you get that edge where you can see it coming because it's just so obvious. It's such a fake. It's a CNN sell-off, It's just not a real. It's a fake out, right? It's just that some of these fake outs supposedly are drip downs. So look at this move here. And then it finally comes back all the way to here. People are like, what the fuck? Where this one is like, bam. Just bitch slap down. So this one too. But I think I'd naturally be buying under here. On something, somehow, some way to catch a bounce of something. Just snag a spike. You can't see the spikes on here. That's another thing. You really need patience to trade RSI. I mean, what kind of setup are you waiting for here? So I'm buying here. I'm buying if it's oversold. I guess I'm long on something with a wide stop. So in the end, the story is that, it may be here, and you may say, here's a measured move. Like, here's up, down, a little baby up, a little doji, another price pulse down. That's a good place to get in. I'm not going to get all splitting hairs about it. I guarantee you I'd be selling above here. And I'd have to go underwater until here, and I'm willing to sell into that. I don't think I'm going to put all my tickets up here and hope they take it up there, because a little scalping here, and then of course when it comes back to here, which is my worst entry, I'm going to get out like most people. That's what gives you that bounce there. So yes, if it gets below here, people are going to gobble it up, especially people are going to accumulate every hour it's down. Don't forget, or every line down, everything that's down. And really, you can make the argument, it's maybe a stretch, but even though it's melting down here, this is more oversold than here, and this is still higher than that. So technically speaking, that is a reversal, albeit long-legged, and, that's... Sure, you could do that. I mean, here is the... But what kind of rules are you going to have for this? You're going to say, well, every time it hits one of these rungs, I'm going to sell. And that's going to be... The great debate is that. How fat do I get in? Don't forget, even though this looks like a nice, smooth, it's popping up against you. It's crushing your account because the index is smoothing it out. But that's the nature of momentum. So that you really wait for this thing to do the catch-up game, That is the nature of the beast, spikes and dojis, and then smooths out. Goes back, goes up, goes down. It's never a clear situation. It's always a big fucking mess. Like these idiots shutting down these bars and stuff. Dude, you gotta live your life. This kind of Facebook, I was like, dude, are you kidding me? You need to get, I said, go hug some toilet paper. I said, dude, you got to get righteous with some toilet paper and go hug it or something because you are like a scared. I told him if he gets a scared, just get yourself some Charmin and clench it. People are just so, it's like, wow, really? Okay. So here we are on the, it's just people are just ridiculous, man. I can't believe it. I don't know. I guess it's just what happens, you know. People drive it off a cliff. I love how people take their fireworks and launch them as if it's the last time they're ever going to have fireworks running. So you can do all sorts of analysis on here. You can say shit like, and this is kind of how I came to that topic on the bottom stuff, because look at this perfect breakout pull back here, nice launching pad for a little move. Not the best move in the world, but you know, it's a fair move. See, then that's the problem with this stuff. You're gonna say things like, yeah, is this really worth that trade for that setup? How often does that setup happen? Where I've come to the conclusion that no, I'm looking at the whole thing here. I'm looking at price. I could look at RSI, but I'm kind of looking at price, honestly. I'm just buying, like, when this thing goes ripping down, I'm getting in. Rips down, get in, rips down, get in. But hopefully I put a bunch of big fat tickets and I bought fatter, and then I bought really fat, and then really fat. And the really fat ones, I'm going to take off. As soon as we come back to here, I might take the whole thing off and go, yeah, that's fine with me. I don't need to ride it to here. I don't need to look for, I might start selling into that. Like this is the fulcrum here. This has got to be the center point. But who's not buying down here? So RSI can be a little bit of a hindrance. I can make this argument. Here's your sell when it breaks this trend line. Come on, you're gonna sell before it breaks on here. Right? You're in here. You're in there. Right, so the leading indicator, I'm going to wait till we break here. I wouldn't wait, but I would use this confirmation to stay in the trade maybe. But yeah, that break's happening way before the other trend line's going to break. So that one's late to the party. So you could say, well, I just sell if it's above the 50. Your rules would have to be, of course, this is why you can't just let a robot do this shit, because it's going to start selling this. And people ask me all the time, well, I sold into that, blew up the account. No shit. That's because it's all about this void here. It's not so much the trend line, it's what's above the trend line. Is this big hole. So that's when I started looking at this stuff, saying, well, you know, isn't it really about, that's why the histogram's kind of cool, because it's just about this hole here. All right, so there's every bar. And then finally, this thing goes ripping back. So you can kind of see it here. There's the void here. But boy, there's nothing like just price. So the RSI led me to the line chart, actually. You could trade this, but what's really going to matter is how long you're going to be in these trades. And the only thing that's going to tell you that, in reality, are these prices. So this is the real situation. So all this pressure, if this was a bar chart, all this pressure behind, and then bam. I mean, how long do you think these trend traders, imagine small wicks, and people are like, okay, I'm in this trade. You are? Well, everything above here, I'm sure people are going, that we haven't seen these prices in a long time. Like, hospital beds are full again. And they raid the toilet paper and they come back, and what's the next thing they're going to raid? So here's your top become a bottom. Not perfect, but see here it's overshooting. And that's why you'd be like, well, it's like a reversal kind of. It's more of a sold 5 period. But sure, you could do all these trades, there's no doubt. But also the void forming underneath RSI here. And big slam down. So it's a bigger slam down for RSI than it is for price, which is why you're getting that reversal here. Kind of long-legged, but not a bad run, not a bad rally. But this is reality up here, the fact that these prices are kind of like, wow. And now these are distant memory, and now these, but now we're below here. Oh, I'm in. I would have just bought the last price pulse down there. So the problem with RSI is a little distracting, a little bit too much. If you just want to draw, without using RSI, just draw a trend line like this on price. Right, save yourself this drama here, because this is not steep enough for me. So I just moved on to stripping away RSI and just running vertical prices. And this is really drilling down and just saying, well, this is from here to here is 10 pips. Can I make 10 pips? Sure. Goes up here, get in with a 10 pip stop and make 20 pips, you're done. Just trade really, the sweet spot of size to how much time you got into that. So if you built a position here where you just kept buying and buying and buying little itty bits of this, and it's going to be a swing trade, it's going to take like 8 hours or 8 days, and then when it comes to here, you dump it. Like when it's coming down here, you just like, I can't believe I'm buying this. I can't believe it's like a bad date. But this is how people, like, you're married to it. I can't believe I'm buying this thing again. But where's your fill? It's like, if it's going to be here, the logical place to fill is going to be this deep shelf, and your pennies are just sitting there. It's nothing. It's not a real. This is not a. It's passive trading. If you put limits in, it's passive trading. Now, if you get into the market, yeah, you pull the trigger every half hour. You're like, yeah, this is fucking fun. Buy, sell, buy, sell. Literally, the market's going up and down every half hour, and most times it maybe goes up an hour, down a half hour, up 2 hours. How often does that happen? It's the how much does it do? How big is that move, and what is the spread during that phase? So when the spreads tighten up, coming into Asia, by the time London opens, we're going to see a raid into a price zone. So you can sit there and you can put the dominoes out and sit and watch the little kid knock them down. The big banksters. Of course, those prices are going to be raided. Who do you think's going to fill the void? It's so funny how it's like the evil bank. Dude, who do you think's going to take the other side of your fucking dumb shit trade? Who's going to buy your house? So you got this $1 million mortgage. Dude, a 30-year mortgage. You don't own that house. You signed up for some shit, right? So you signed up in a contract. There's no intrinsic value. There's no equity. But you're allowed to live there. So isn't that what you wanted? You wanted a house to live in. So the investment, those are investments. And trading is different. You're just in, you're out. What the fuck? It's hump and dump. There's no loyalty. So that's very difficult. If you're an investor, as opposed to a trader, and I don't know what the frequency the trading is that you're doing either. So you could go and put a half-hour chart up on RSI, 3-period RSI. It'd be like, oh, there's a signal, boom, boom. And out of 48 bars, you probably got about 5 good signals a day there where you're like, probably syncs up with the 1-hour RSI and half-hour. So I used to run all this shit. I had a 15-minute chart, half-hour chart, 1-hour chart, all sync together, triple screen. Forget triple screen. I had like quad screen trading, monitors. But then I said, no, I don't think I need that because I know that the price I'm looking at on this one chart, what I'm like, well, it's Tuesday. We could probably sell off like 50 pips. So the question is, do I get on the southern train and ride it into the void? Or do I place pendings into the void? So lately, using the set it and forget it method, I'm just trying to elevate to the set it and forget it method because at the market I could do it. I could do it at the market, but there's just too much betrayal in the trading at the market. In other words, I don't care. Okay, if you're awake for 24 hours and you wait for the ultimate place to pull the trigger, you stare at the tick chart, right? You're wetting your eyes down with sprayers, and you wait for the setup, and you pull the trigger. It's some big fucking trade. But then, right, if it's really big, then you're gonna get out in like about 15 minutes and make yourself a tidy $8,000 or something. Yeah, you can make 16 grand a day doing that. Sure. You're waiting for that setup. You're like, oh yeah, this is it, right? Of course, actually, 5 minutes. Like I said, 5 minutes after the bottom of the hour. So you're talking about 8:35. Boy, when you get into that 5 minutes after the top of the hour, after London opens and shit, the market just turn on a dime. Look at any 5-minute chart. Play back the 5-minute chart. And you'd be like, oh, look at this thing. Jesus. Well, there's people trading at that level. They're sitting there with a fucking zero spread, paying a quarter pip in commission. And they're just going, yeah, boom, that's easy trade. Just nailed that fucking, yeah. Sniper shit. One bullet, one shot. Deer hunter shit. Yeah, you can do that. Sure. I'm not going to do it. It's just too much stress. It's ridiculous. It's like saying, well, you can play this guitar solo. It's going to be 40 seconds, or it's going to be 4 seconds, but you got to get some nice licks, though. We want you to play something really interesting for 4 seconds. Oh, fuck. And, sure, right, but people are going to get bored, so it's not a good analogy because the market doesn't know you exist. If you do the same trade over and over again, nobody fucking knows but you. So it's kind of weird because you're kind of on your own. Sure, you could. 2 people could run a trading firm, I suppose. If you agreed, oh, we'll put a plot of orders in here. We'll put a order bank in here, and there'll be scalps commingled with the swings in there, and yeah, that's going to work out. Of course, if we see that it comes back to so that's where you would have a debate. Oh, do you think it's going to go full tilt in golf where we take out the lows, take out the highs of the day, ends in a doji? Everybody's like, what the fuck happened? Some news event. It seems like that doesn't happen anymore. I guess it's going to happen. It's going to happen when the market gets quiet, so markets are getting quiet again. Yeah, it's getting very safe feeling. So when the Swiss franc was depegged, everything was just going along mildly, and all of a sudden people are like, what the fuck was that? So that was the government doing that trade. How do you like the government's trade? So they're building mass. Now they're not. Now they're not building mass. They're building moving averages. When they put a moving average on the dead people on that world meter, I said, well, dude, look at this. Kind of running a moving average on dead people. Man, let's get a Bollinger Band on that fucker. Let's put everything. Let's stack everything up. A Renko. I like a Renko with some cloud. Well, the one thing you can say for the line chart, it doesn't get any simpler. It only has one price over time. Whereas the high and low, now that's where it gets complicated. And I think that's where the gold mine is, though. Because you're you're looking for the market to break out, fill the void, and then retract, and then come back to a center point. I guess at least I am. I'm thinking that's the ultimate trade. So I gotta get an app running here that's just crushing my phone. Oh shit. Okay. I don't know. It's too hot out. But yeah, it's all doable. I don't think there's anything. I'm not used to certain styles people do. I guess that's why I flipped out about people writing these algorithms, and I'm like, damn, do you realize what you're doing? Like, I guess it's like building a house for a girl you don't know. It's like that psycho shit. Lifetime movies. Oh, well, we built this house for you. We're gonna live here together. I'm gonna chain you to the floor. You're gonna love it here. I don't know if people could do it. I suppose you could do it. But people usually, when it comes to money and stuff, that's why, it's too much. That's why I don't know how people like ICT and stuff. Some guy was commenting on my ICT video. He goes, "You don't even say anything." I said, "Well, it's just that the guy's is selling a persona of like I know, like I hung out with bankers. So what? I hung out with this guy who was really wealthy. He was a trader, and I had lunch with him. He seemed like a normal guy. Him and his wife were trading silver, and they were trading crude oil, and they made a bunch of money, and then volatility crushed him, so he went to very small positions after that, the rest of his life. But he made a ton of money because he went to very small positions. He's like, yeah, that's the problem. Position size. You can make a ton of money in this world, and you can just lose a ton of money. And people are doing that now. Or they're offsetting their trades in the market. So it's funny how when Bitcoin crashed and stocks crashed and all this stuff crashed, and it's so cute. Glenn Beck, he sold into the bottom. What a non-trader. I was telling people when that Corona sell-off was, I was telling anybody, you got to get some stock at those person. Boeing, come on, Boeing at $90. Really? They're gonna stop making planes? People lose their minds. I mean, it's just I can't believe it, man. I mean, but I guess I should be able to believe it because there's so many people living in the world now that it's like a ship where everybody leans on one side. Next thing you know, and that's another metaphor that Cardwell would say is that when too many people are on one side of the ship looking over, it's like it's done. It's too many people. It's a crowded trade. So yeah, it looks like we're going to coast into the end of the year here. Christmas is coming, and the economy is going to come roaring back so hard because there's a black market and there's Bitcoin. And I mean, Bitcoin's open on the weekends. There is no fear. If I had as much money as some people have, I'd be like, dude, Bitcoin. I mean, you just have to say freedom is, and this is the funny thing because people that are saying, oh, is there going to be a cashless society? There it already is. It's called Bitcoin. What, do you got a problem with that? So the government wants in on it. I just saw a thing. I don't know how old this news is, but government wants to make their own coin. How cute. So, yeah, cashless. Who cares? I mean, that's pure freedom. It's happening every weekend. It's happening every day. There's pure liquidity. There is no the bank's closed. It's Sunday. Fuck you. I remember when I would have a day job and little kid, and I get it out. I get out of work at 5, and I go, the bank closes at 5. What kind of fucking assholes are these people? How dare they? Don't they know most people work 9 to 5, and you're gonna fucking work 9 to 5? And you gotta go in there Saturday through the drive-through. And they say the same chutes. They got the same fucking die bolt chutes they had when I was a little kid. They got 30 fucking years of this fucking canister. I should have kept one from the old days and popped it in there. Send the shit back in the old vintage one. Flip the lady out. What the hell are you doing there? It's not been contaminated yet. It just tested. You just tested positive for moron. People are testing positive for moron. I'm so sorry, man. You need to get corona. You need to pump up. I'm going to pump you up. Why are people embracing this shit? I love the kids that have the party where they're going to do it. Dude, bring your corona. Bring some phlegm to the party. We're going to do it up. Bring some droplets, bitch. We're going to have some fun here. And now they're making this argument. Well, you see, it stops. It's airborne. It's not airborne. We don't know. Dude, you know that when I get out the Ginsu carver and smash you in the eyeball, that's going to be an airborne knife in your eyeball. I'm going to give you I'm going to edit your face. So they're telling people what you can and can't do now, to the level of, but this is all to save your life. You know how many people have killed themselves over just fucking, well, I guess people have, they signed up with a license. How many people broke the law to live? How many people broke the law to live? It's incredible. It's just mind-blowing. It's kind of really unbelievable. So I'm kind of just coming down off of all this corona bullshit. I knew it was the biggest overreaction I think I've ever seen in my life to anything. I think maybe UFOs landing in your backyard can't even compete. I don't know. I guess if the Martians were on CNN, they decided to go on CNN instead of Fox. That'd be funny. Fox is like, hey man, we're conspiratorialists. We're Area 51 people. Because they got that Lemon guy, right? They got that Don Lemon guy that's like, yeah, black holes. Fuck yeah. Bermuda Triangles all over the place. That's the trading system I want to sell, is the Bermuda Triangle setup. See what we got here is a delta on top of a... How did people go this far, though? Honestly, how did we get this far? It's amazing people haven't blown themselves up earlier. I guess we're not surprised in a way. Sadly. We shouldn't be surprised. People's behavior. Okay, so... Anyways, I don't know if that helps, but I'm going to go to the real-time charts here. It's complicated. I think that the biggest thing, even if you're going to hit a rule system for this, it's always going to be like, how long do you want to be in the trade? How much can you afford to risk per hour, per day? How long do you see that trade lasting? That's going to be the end-all, be-all, I think. So, there's probably no... like I said, you do anything you want, So here I still got this account. I have not traded it really since my first trade I'm going to put on here. So here's going to be, somebody asked about the stop. What stops do you put on a chart? This is a 4-hour chart. So here I'm just going to mark up the zone before I drop the orders. So kind of a way to plot out your drops or your kill zone, as they would say it in power trading. Anything below this wick, I'm pretty much a buyer, I think. That's a no-brainer. I'm not going to have to go. That's not hard. So how do I fill that zone? So if there wasn't much money in the account, imagine there's $320 in there because I got 320 at the ending tail, so I'll consider that 320. The most conservative thing to do is, so put a real dollar amount on this. This is $43 to make $37, and this is a 40 pip stop on a 30 pip range, 10K, and this is going to be a big kahuna swing. I'm going to start it right there. And it's going to cover 30 pips. Probably take me to that round. So I know what I'm risking here. So it's a 10K. It looks kind of staggered out. That doesn't look right. Oh, maybe it's blacked out. No. Yeah, I think I put this in like, I put like a foot on this thing. I think I made this fatter down here. So here's a 36 pip range. So I'm going to lay this on top of that. This is going to last for, this is the other critical thing. This lasts all day. It's quite a commitment. I must say, it's like getting married here. 50 pip stop to make 50 pips, but you're really risking $53 to make 47 because you have a range of 36 pips with a 50 pip stop. So in essence, you've got a 14 pip hard stop on that before you blow out this whole bank. But each ticket has that stop. So it's easy to do the math here. That's if you blow it out, but you don't have to fill the whole thing. That's the worst case and best case scenario, is 53 to make 40. It doesn't mean that you're going to make that. So if you drop it here, so get very aggressive here. I'm going to say, let's just start buying this thing at 36 pip range, a 10K all day long. Have to wait for the market to trade. This is the British pound too. It could happen. British pound's very frisky. Here's a 40 pip stop to make 20. So here's a bad ratio. We got to wait for the market to trade here. It's not trading. So there we go. Unfortunately, the broker has to bring a tick in for us to get the limits in. So there's so much money in this account. There's no fucking way I can blow up this account now. So here's the deal. Should we put some hot spots in here? Yeah. So that stuff's laid in. I'm going to come on top and just some elaborate tickets here. $320 I'm going to say we have in the account. Never trade here at Hugo's Way. I don't trade here. Just my demo. Here's a bad ratio. And look, the spread's not that great here anyways. Not bad for this time of night. So it's 7:18, coming into the bottom of the hour. So I'll put this in all day long. I guarantee you they'll fill this. So 10K in a 10 pip window. Bad ratios. Risk 10 to make 5. So you see how tight that comes in? Now that's a completely kind of different trade. Now, if I was going to do that with real money, I put that in for like 2 hours. And why would you put it in for 2 hours? Because you really want to create this contest. You want to create your own auction with a time limit. Expiration on these tickets. So this way, we would have already gotten filled here. I can see that I would have put an order in here, a buy limit. So I'd already be out of something there. That's the 4-hour chart, so that was the dip. So I bought that actually a little bit. I didn't hold it. So I sold the top of this today. So the British pound is what I've been trading because it moves a lot of pips. So I can trade, since the account's bigger, I can trade heftier up here at the top. So with my own account, I'm trading the pound because you just have to trade wider. You're gonna make more pips, but you're gonna risk more pips. So it's kind of a trade-off, as they say. I'm gonna compress this and show you the window that I sold into, which is obvious. I sold up into it, so probably could have sold a little bit heavier later. So I started selling heavy. I started selling here. And then see how they just nicked that 10 handle. And that was a flick. If you saw that on the 5-minute chart, just flicked up there and ripped back. So wait for the rip back and then cashed out here. Bought a little dippity-do. I figure, well, this is where people are going to get in now. you know how that goes. So none of this is a secret in a way, but I think that these moves, some of these are just dramatic as hell. Today that was killer sell. It was very quick and dirty, and the reason why it was is because if you go to the daily chart, it's this little rooftop on the daily. So aggressively selling into this today. Sold here for 30 pips all the way here, but selling heavier as it goes up. You can only imagine what the 5-minute chart looks like here at this climax. It probably looks pretty insane, right? I gotta believe. Shit, let me move this over. Kind of freaking my computer out a little bit. So that was the trade. I mean, it's a silly trade, but high probability. It's a very high probability trade. Okay, let me compress this down a little bit. So in the big picture, you know, you can hardly see that trade. When you go like this, you know, well, where's the trade at? So here's this trade down here. So if you could step in here and buy this on the way down, that's a good trade. So on the daily, it's a different thing. So you're selling above here on the daily. Sell, sell, sell. And then it comes back the next day. You get out. So if you were able to buy below here, you could have made a ton of money, right? Now it looks like I'm going to buy here as it drops back. And maybe catch a bounce like this. Or I'm going to sell up into this. I'm definitely going to sell above this. If we go above here, I got sells all the way up there. Seems obvious. These are giant moves. I mean, look at these moves. These are dramatic. This is high drama, man. Look at this. Look at that thing. My God, it happened. People just don't realize if you sold up here like 100 standard lots and you rode that until you were here, I think you'd make a nice chunk of money. You rode it into this basement here. Clip that floor at the 100. Golly, that is some crazy shit. Anyways, I get back to my movie show, my picture show. It's gonna be okay. So the bottom of the hour is coming. No fill here. I'm gonna put some trades in here though. Okay, at first glance, I would say, you know, I don't want to put in a daily order. I think I'm going to stretch out here and put an 8-hour order in. Something kind of light. I'll put a 10K up here. 8 hours. We got to wait for this thing to trade, though, for that order to come in. So like this, look at this wide-ass stop on this thing. It's ridiculous. So here's a better ratio. 15 pips stop. I'll place it on there. So these could be giant tickets. You could keep stacking up stuff here. Not too many choices for trades. My favorite trade is to say, oh, let's buy down here. You know, if they ever come down here, right, this is a good place to get in. And you may not get filled on this stuff. But you know what? You're not blowing up the account. You got money at the end of the day. So there you go. I mean, if you're of the no nonsense, I don't want to lose money persuasion, then yeah, do stuff like this. Put in a, let's see. Well, here's a nice wide daily. This isn't too risky. That's going to be there all day long. Now that's all spattered out. That's going to be a broad brush. Look how hard that goes. That's also this is going to martingale in. So it's going to look like this where it gets in fat at the bottom. You can stack up multiples of this. It's a 5K and a 40 pip range. It's pretty hard to, with 80 pip stop. Lord, I mean, come on, this could last a week. You could make that a weekly order. Are you serious? Like, you really think the market's going to come down here? Certainly, I was talking about in another video, maybe, maybe not. So buying this 6K here, or selling a 6K into this, wrapped around that 10K in a 10 pip window, right? So they're all commingled. The market comes into it. That's just as legitimate as trade as this hot spot here. So layering these up, I could sell every 10 pip window all the way up. And it makes sense, right? Because it pops up, it's going to scalp. Those are the scalps. You can put those in first. You could swing on top of it by putting in these 30 pip windows. Here's an 8K in a 30 pip window. You're selling into it. And I guess this broker is going to lock me out at some point. Here's a 30 pip stop to make 20 pips. I'm going to start selling above that candle on the 4-hour chart. So, I mean, that's pretty hard to, it's not very risky. Selling above here all day long. Sure, we pop up there. The euro versus the yen, which it is possible. I mean, it's a pretty vicious pair. Pretty volatile if you zoom out. So you get more perspective here when we zoom out. So as soon as you zoom out, you're kind of inclined to do stuff like this and say, oh, look at this beautiful channel here. Gosh, could trade that thing. Could you? But on the way to the touches on that channel, there's all sorts of trades too, don't forget. It doesn't perfectly touch it, right? A sloppy channel. So, well, it looks like we're going to make a rally here tonight. Take a little pop up. Here's the daily euro. Looks like we're ready to make a run up, but I don't think so much. So that's the daily zoomed out. You can see how this order is going to look like just one ticket. That's 1 pip apart. So this is going to look like a lot less risky, and you could trade like this all day long. I don't know how much money you make, but you're not going to blow up the account. Drop an order like this here. Now that I'd put in for all month long. So that's good all week long there, I'd say. It's a 40 pip window. Put a couple of those in, right? I just don't think we could get down there that fast. It's going to take like a month to get down there. So, got to have a realistic time frame, I suppose, for these fills. So if you're running the expirations in 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 6, 8 hours, you can be pretty close to the market, and you're going to get this effect where the 4-hour scripts are 40 pips deep, or maybe more or less, and you kind of know in the you know what you got out there and what could fill and what orders could possibly get filled in a spike. And it's a fast spike, and you got to have the scalps built into it, though. This is how it is. Okay, so anyways, we're waiting for the euro to align for a plunge, maybe into Asia. We can scalp a shallow plunge, or maybe it goes deep. So that's when you have the deep orders that last 8 hours. The shallow orders last a shorter period of time. So you're ready for anything that could happen. Up or down, I suppose. It could spike up. I mean, who's not going to sell if it goes rocketing up for an hour? Just getting your orders in that shelf above, so you know that when they hit it, it's gonna rip back off of that for the easy first scalp, and then after that, it might consolidate, and you can see, oh well, obviously it's destined to keep going higher. It dojis out after it does these flash fills on the upper and lowers. It comes up into the supply, hits the demand, and that all happens very quickly. Everybody gets their order filled because stuff comes off of inventory, stuff comes in, and then it's settled. Everything's quiet, and then you go to the next session. Everybody's made their move, and by the end of the week, it's like, where do you get to? What kind of progress are you making as it slams up and down? Yeah, I guess on the 5-period moving average, it looks like it's trending, for God's sake. Anyways, I'll go back to the the Lifetime movies. It's just so ridiculous, so cliche. Gotta love it.